Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Village Podcast. We got to give the people what they want. Hello, everyone. I'm Cory, and my co-host is Ocean. Say hello, Ocean.
Hello everyone, I'm Ocean.
So, Ocean, today is a nice and sunny day in Shanghai, but it's still a little bit cold out there. And how do you feel about the weather?
I think it's quite warm today. I rode my bike and it was not cold at all.
Oh, I understand. So, when you were riding your bike, you saw a lot of apartments, yeah?
Yeah, they are not.
So, like, how's the apartments in Shanghai? Like, because I know you lived in Shanghai for a while, and I know like prices now is, getting a little expensive in certain areas, and some areas are not. So, what was it like, the price of apartments back then?
I think last year before Chinese New Year, as I was looking for an apartment for myself, so I noticed that the price is a little bit lower than 1 year ago or 2 years ago.
hmm So, why do you think the prices are lower than it was before?
I think first of all, the economic, I mean, the globally, it's not good. And
hmm
second of all, not foreigners left Shanghai. So these two are the main reasons.
Hmm. Or do you think like people can't afford to pay the banks anymore, based off of mortgages and stuff like that, or even buying houses?
Yeah, I heard a lot of stories like that because a lot of people lost their job and they can't afford the same price as before.
Yeah, I believe because of COVID, like and the real estate company was I forgot the company was called, end up being bankrupt, so that like collapsed a lot of banks and mortgages for the people to pay to even maintain a house. And, the houses there here in Shanghai were very, expensive still to this day. And I think people are losing interest on buying a house or even making profit because of, the crisis, the economic crisis based on the real estate. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So do you think that's happening across China?
Yeah, it's not only Shanghai, it's everywhere in all the cities in China. See, Shanghai is already the most active city
Mm-hmm.
for real estate.
Hmm.
And even in Shanghai, the price to buy or to rent apartment or house it's lower. And in other place, it's the same thing.
Like in Beijing
In
and
Beijing, in small cities,
hmm.
everywhere.
See, I thought like the tier one cities like Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Shanghai would be more expensive than the tier two, tier three cities like Tianjin, Suzhou, Hangzhou, Sanya, Shandong, those areas,
Of
right?
course.
So like, but the thing is it because like those places are cheaper because it's in like in the countryside, the village areas, or the just the currency in those type of provinces?
Mm, First of all, the salary in tier two cities
Mm-hmm.
is lower than that of tier one cities. So,
Hmm.
of course, the real estate in these cities are cheaper.
Hmm.
It's all related to your salary. I think so.
That's true. That's true. And then like some of the houses are being tore down and being renovated, and and it's so sad because like we know that people are trying to sell their houses, but they can't even make any profit on, returning, you know, back on their money on which they bought the house in the first place. So if, for instance, if somebody's trying to sell their house for 7 million RMB and the person buys it you know, they can't even like make profit. Yeah.
Less and less.
Still.
It depends when you bought the house. For
Mm-hmm.
example, someone bought a house in Shanghai kind of more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
If they sell it now, I think maybe they can still earn a little bit money. But if you bought the house kind of 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
now the price is cheaper than 3 years ago.
Hmm.
You lose your money.
You lose value of the
Yes.
house. Like, because I know in America, if we're trying to sell a house, like we have an appraiser, and the appraiser just walks around the house to see if the house is taken care of, like, the wood is perfect, or like the bricks are fine around outside of the house, or the certain types of materials are in good condition, and then they give us a price. Is that the same thing like in Shanghai with the houses and apartments, that they have appraisal for that?
Yeah, actually, it's the agent of the real estate agency will come to your house first
Mm-hmm.
to take a visit and see the condition of your house,
Mm-hmm.
then give you a price.
Hmm. Hmm. I see. And sometimes like that doesn't even work, because usually the landlord who owns the house don't even be at those apartments or houses, right?
Yeah, normally there are tenant
Uh-huh.
inside. You need to make appointment
Mm-hmm.
with the tenant who stays inside.
Hmm. And that's crazy, because that was a culture shock for me when I'm trying to move into apartments here in Shanghai, for example. And the real estate agent like, oh, you need to come at this time at 6:30 p.m. So I was like, okay, fine, check out the house, because what they do is they take pictures of the house, and I'll be like, oh, that looks so nice. And then when you go inside, you be like, what the hell is this? And people are still in the house.
Yeah.
And you look, and like it's not even thoroughly clean. Like the furniture's messed up, or like the shower head is broken, and the walls are like dirty, not even painted. And that was a culture shock for me, because in the United States, the landlord will wait until the tenant moves all their things out the house, and then they have somebody to clean the house, and then when we look at it, it's more spacious.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why we do that here in China everywhere, it's because most of landlords don't want to keep the house empty, even just for one day.
Mm-hmm.
They want to find the next tenant before the previous one left.
But do you think that's kind of like disrespectful, towards the potential person who wants to rent the house and the tenant who still lives there?
People are used to that. I think as it's very common and very normal in China, people don't take it as disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I know if we did that in the United States, it would be very rude and disrespectful, or like the person would get shot, basically. I'm just joking about that. But yeah, it's very uncommon that we actually do that in the United States. And yeah, like it's very different, renting these apartments in Shanghai, because what you have to do is like you have to negotiate with the landlord, and based on the price, and the deposit, and also like the location as well. So like, is that very common in China? I mean, in Shanghai or in tier one cities, that they have different types of deposits and the type of like negotiation of rent?
Yeah, in Shanghai, I heard about. What's the most common is just the deposit is 1 month of the rent.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it can happen. Some landlord ask 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
The deposit is kind of 2 months of the rent,
Mm-hmm.
even up to three.
Hmm.
It depends on the house and depends on the landlord. If the house is furniture and and with a lot of equipment. Sometimes the landlord asks 3 times of the rent as a deposit.
Because I know a friend who ended up having 2 months deposit but 4 months rent, and he had to spend like a lot of money just to be at that place. But that's the thing where me as a teacher living in tier 2 cities like Tianjin or even in Suzhou at the time, like I've never rented the apartments. Like the school provides, shared apartment or just a free apartment based off your salary. And when I moved here, that's when it was like, oh, you gotta pay salary on your own. Like this, schools or companies give you housing allowance and everything, and that was like a big of a change for me as well. The good thing about like the apartments in Shanghai, like the landlord can take care of you. Like they always have like maintenance, say if like the light bulb is broken or like the sinks are broken, like they can have somebody to come over and pay that for you. Whereas in the United States, like if you're renting out something, renting out a place and you're trying to reach your landlord, like half of the time, like they would pick up the phone, half of the time that they don't. And that means you have to like pay out of your own pocket to have someone to come. So that's like the good thing about renting an apartment, in Shanghai or in China in general. Like they always, pay for the service because the service is very affordable, it's very cheap. Whereas in the United States, it's expensive.
Yeah, I think that's why too.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because you're a homeowner, yeah?
Yeah.
And like, what is it like renting out an apartment to someone else?
Actually, what is funny, my tenant, I even never met her before when we signed the contract.
Really?
Yeah. When I decided to rent my house, actually the agent came, the first agent came, and he made a video call with my actual tenant, and
Yeah.
she decided, okay, I'll take that one. So I talked with her, of course, a little bit on the phone, but I never met her in person till the day we signed the contract. And I know for Western countries, maybe that's a little bit weird because when I was living in France, when I was trying to rent something to live,
Yes.
and there is kind of interview. We need a lot of candidates go to have the interview with the landlord, and he or she will pick the one who's he thinks maybe the most suitable person, who has a stable financial situation, who maybe probably pay attention to keep the place clean, and he will pick one.
Wouldn't that be like the same thing in China just a little bit? Because, where there might be, say if I'm looking at a house, right? And then there's like other people coming by as well. Isn't that like a little bit of the same?
I don't think so. In China, in general, the landlord just pick the first one who is okay with the price.
Okay. So,
or even there are 2, 3 people who want the same house, and the landlord, of course, he will pick the one who gives the highest rent.
okay. So it's like first come, first serve?
Yes.
And it's so crazy because, like you mentioned, in France they do an interview, whereas in the United States, the landlord will ask our pay stub.
What's that?
A pay stub is like they want to see how much you get paid every 2 weeks or monthly, and that determines if you can afford what the rent. So, say for instance, the landlord wants $1,000 a month on rent, but you get paid $800 a month. Chances are you're not even going to get like you're not going to get the house or the apartment that you want. And also with the landlords, like they will check like your credit score as well, because that's very important Because if you have a low credit score, you can't afford anything. You don't. It tells that you don't make your payments on time.
Yeah.
So that's very different
Yeah.
from it is from here in Shanghai or in
That
China,
make
just in general.
that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, it does make sense. And yeah, like I forgot what I was about to say um, about the rent. Um, where like as a foreigner, where can we find like these type of agents?
Uh, Actually, years ago, the only way to find the agents is just you walk around in the area where you want to live,
Mm-hmm.
and you are on the street. You will find real estate agencies, and you just walk in
Hmm.
and talk to people. I want to look for what kind of house in this area,
Yes.
and they will uh, take you to visit the houses in this area.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only way back then. But now, except that, we have a lot of social medias. Like you can find some free, freelance freelance agents
Mm-hmm.
who even don't work in an agency, who work by their own, who has a lot of resource of houses,
Yes.
and who just took videos, shoot pictures on kind of red note or other apps, and you make your appointment with them, and they will directly meet you at the place, at the house.
Does that benefit both local Chinese and foreigners as well?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Because I know, like, from experience where some freelancers um, trying to have the landlord to raise the price high for renting for foreigners because they know that we get paid more than, local Chinese people. So, like, for the viewers who are trying to move, to China, and trying to rent out like an apartment, just be aware on like which agents that you choose because some of them can be good and some of them be bad because like all they want like some of the bad people all they want is your money because they get paid a commission, right?
Yes,
So isn't
exactly.
that the commission be like at least 25% or up to 35% of the rent that they get?
Now minimum is 35%.
So the minimum is 35% now.
Minimum, and most times it's 50%.
So, like, for the viewers, beware. Just go lower than 50. 35 is a good deal, especially like you're still trying to save up money when you move because you want to buy, furniture or any type of materials for your house. So, like, just save money. Just be aware on like the prices for where you want to rent. And also, for example, here in Shanghai, like certain districts, you know, can be pricey. So, like the city center, right,
Of course.
can be more expensive than the outside of the downtown area. Because I believe, like, the city center is like for the younger crowd, like, college students, because, their universities most likely be in a city center or a little bit outside of the city center, like in Pudong. So those areas, like it's downtown, is good for having roommates,
Yes.
correct? So like that's why like some of the prices be up. Like a 3 bedroom would be like what?
More than 15,000
So
RMB.
that's $2,000 to $3,000.
Even more. It
Yeah,
depends on the
the
condition of the
location.
house.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the condition of the house
Yeah.
too. Yeah, yeah. So like just be aware, or if you're really trying to save up money, the best thing to do is move outside of the downtown area because it's the countryside sometimes, but certain areas are good houses, and also it's a family oriented type of districts because I always believe like city centers for the single people or boyfriend and girlfriend whereas the outside of the downtown area is most likely for family oriented, try
That's
to
true.
establish, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have anything else to say, Ocean, about apartments in Shanghai or in China in general?
Yeah. Uh, for apartments in Shanghai, I
Mm-hmm.
think yeah, there also a difference between rent, renting a house here and outside of China. Here in Shanghai was very difficult. It's to find a house without furnitures,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more on the for example, in Europe, it's more difficult to find a house furniture.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a big difference.
Hmm.
It means here normally you don't need to buy furniture when
Mm-hmm.
you move to a new place,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, because in United States, when we move in, there's nothing there. Because the reason why is because we don't want other people's
Stuff.
stuff,
Yeah.
furniture and stuff. Because like, funny story where I was looking at an apartment here in China, in Shanghai, obviously, and went to a part like this apartment, and like the apartment looked nice, but the furniture looked so old. Sometimes it'd be wooding. I mean, like old wood, or it just be like furniture from like the 1970s, 80s. And, you know, like people have animals, you know, so it'd be a lot of cat scratches and, you know, dog hair and stuff. And you don't want that, you know. And you can easily tell the landlord, hey, you know, can you take this furniture out? So like some landlords be like, no, like keep it there. Or some landlords be generous, like, okay, I understand, blah, 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 blah. You know, we'd take out the furniture or anything out of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. And then like funny story about like the apartments in Shanghai is where I think it was last year, and we went to the house on dang off of South Shanxi Road. It was near just around the corner. Do you
Which
know
house?
where you're it was the one that the guy, we went to the apartment, and the guy couldn't even like open the lock, the key to the door, so we had to like look at the apartment from the outside. Was it on
Yes.
Shandong Lu?
Shaoxing Road.
Yes, Shaoxing Road.
Yes.
Yes. And
That
like,
one.
that was funny because we really want to like look inside of the apartment, you know, and the guy couldn't even like open the door. That was a funny situation. And then there was another one where we went to the one on Yangjia Road, and the apartment was like an Airbnb type. It didn't have that much space, but it had like a lot of
Yes, that's
rooms.
true. It was an Airbnb. It was, yes, a
and,
lot of rooms
and
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 hotel
and like the
style.
kitchen was like separated. It was like outside, like and like the bedrooms and the like. It was not like an actual spacious house. Everything was just compacted together, and I'm like, I can't live in this type of environment. You know what I mean? And there were another house where, you know, you go inside, it looks nice from the, you know, downstairs, but when you go upstairs it's so short,
Yeah,
and so
you
it
can,
like it hurts your
yeah.
head. So like, you know, certain places it's just funny where they try to like rent things out, or, you know, they take pictures of the house and it looks so nice, but 9 times out of 10 the pictures are filtered, or the house, I mean the pictures that they took can be 5 years old or 10 years old, you know, and you can be easily be tricked because they just want you to just come and see, you know, the house. So sometimes like the agents, you know, just trying to get you for your money.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's why you, even they have videos, you need to go to the place to
Mm-hmm.
check by your own,
Hmm.
because on the video you can never know how it really looks like in
Mm-hmm.
reality.
Mm-hmm. And they also do like the virtual the virtual pictures where they like use like a computer and they can show you like it's like a 360
Yes, there
type
are
of stuff.
some apps that you can visit apartment like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think even everything inside is fine if you visit a house like that online, but you need also to check the compound, the area.
Mm-hmm.
So you must go there to visit by your own, not just do it online. But maybe it can help you to save your time. You can first check or visit online and
Mm-hmm.
decide which one to visit
Mm-hmm.
in person and
Mm.
which one just let it go.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. So there we have it. We don't know what's the next episode will be, but make sure please subscribe. Follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Even follow us on Instagram as well. Um, yeah. Anything else
About houses?
or anything in general? No.
No?
No. All right. Well, be safe. Take care of yourself and each other.